We're here today with Scott Hilton, who represents a part of Gwinnett County and a part of North Fulton County as well, and been in the House for a good long while now. What first got you into running for office?
Thank you, Brian. It's great to be here today. One of the things I'm passionate about is our community and giving back. It really goes back to when our middle child, Chase, was born, and he was born with Down syndrome. And I knew then on that day that I just wanted to be a voice for those who need it most. As I look at politics and how divisive things are right now, I believe we really need just a common sense, business-minded person who's willing to do the right thing when no one's looking and just get things done for our community. I've grown up and volunteered, done a number of things, and just love where we live and want to keep Georgia the best state. Our family moved here 20 years ago for a reason. We love Georgia and we want to keep it the best state to live, work, and raise a family.
Yeah, you mentioned Chase. Of course, he comes down to the Capitol sometime. He's been a page down there. What is it like for you as a dad being able to give him an opportunity like that?
It is amazing. I love it. Chase is just a miracle. He was born with Down syndrome and just love him so much and what he's able to do. And for me, down at the Capitol, I am a fighter for families with special needs. I've done a lot of legislation and plan to do more to really put that community first and really help them with a lot of the complicated issues that they face on a day in and day out basis.
From the time you first got into the House, education has been a major focus for you. Is that personal? Is it more representative of your district? Why is that your passion?
As a father of 3 kids, education is hugely important, and it's important to all of us, right? It touches all of us. Like, we need our kids to learn and grow and flourish. And so, yeah, I've been on the education committee and I've done a lot around education policy, making sure our schools are safe, kids are able to read, and most recently, making sure that we take the distraction of cell phones out of our classrooms.
I definitely want to get to that. Yeah. Let's talk a little bit about school safety, because you guys have done some really important stuff. I don't know of anything that's going to keep parents up at night quite like that issue. Talk about what you guys have done in the House to keep our kids safe.
I think it's about school safety all the time. When I drop my kids off at school, I want to know that they are learning in a safe and healthy environment. And so we have done a lot to make sure that schools have the funding they need, the resources they need, and the protections in place to make sure that our kids can go and learn in a real safe environment. And so I'm proud of the work that we've done there.
Of course, Barrow County, where we had that tragedy, is very near to where your district is, so yeah, close enough to be very concerning.
It is, and I was proud to work alongside the Speaker and House leadership to make sure that we passed a meaningful bill to address some of the things that we learned from that tragedy, which primarily was the student records are not following. When a kid transfers one school to the next, those records have to follow along, as well as we've got to address some of the mental health needs that our kids have right now. And so we've done a lot around that area. Every kid should go to school. Every parent should send their kid to school in a safe environment.
When I look at education issues, I think a lot of parents today who have kids who have devices, phones, iPads, we know that when we're talking to them or trying to talk to them and they're on them, they're not listening to a word that we're saying. So we know that if they're on those devices at school, they're not listening to a teacher. Was that what motivated you? Was it the parents' view when it comes to having devices in schools?
Absolutely. The data is overwhelming. I mean, kids cannot learn when there are devices present. Notifications are going off. And so it was a no-brainer, common sense policy. Again, when you see states like California and Florida both agreeing on policy, you know it makes sense. And so
it must be good.
Oh yeah. So I was proud to author the cell phone free, distraction free bill here in Georgia, taking cell phones out of our classrooms for grades K through 8, and eventually looking at expanding that into high school. But it's become a real problem in our classrooms where kids are not able to learn. And it's not healthy. We talk about mental health. It's not healthy for the mental health, right, and a number of things. So a great piece of legislation. Honored that the governor signed it.
Did you get big support for that? Was there any pushback on that at all?
The support was overwhelming. We had support from superintendents, teachers, families, and even students came to me and said, "Scott, this is a real issue in my classroom. Thank you for doing this work for us." And the states that have passed it, we have seen educational scores improve dramatically. And so just a great piece of legislation.
For you, education is beyond being a parent. It's beyond being a legislator.
Yeah.
You actually volunteer as an announcer for your kids' school. Tell us about that.
I take every chance I get to embarrass my kids. I love it.
Absolutely.
They're so precious
great
to me.
joy of
Oh
parenting,
yes.
yes.
Oh yes. So I get to announce at our high school football games. It is so much fun. I am deeply involved in a number of areas in the community, out and about. People will see me all the time, whether it's at the grocery store, the football game. And that's what I love about being a State House rep is, we're not in Washington, D.C. We are right here local in your backyard. And I love engaging and talking to constituents, whether we're out to dinner or out at a walk at the local park.
Well, that reminds me of something I saw, Scott. I saw you've been doing some pickleball events. Is that something you do as your official duties, or is that just something you're doing for fun in the community?
Oh man, I have fallen in love with pickleball. It is growing, and it's another thing. Like, you can see me out and about playing pickleball. It's such a fun sport, just something to keep us healthy. So when I'm not at the Capitol, I'm either playing pickleball or with the family, and do a good bit. I love getting outdoors. So one of the things I'm working on right now, I'm trying to hike the highest point of every state.
Oh, really?
So yes, I've done 43 states so far. We'll do number 44 coming up here pretty soon.
What is the highest point in Georgia?
The highest point in Georgia is Brasstown Bald. So
Really?
Yes, beautiful. If you haven't ever been there, make sure to get up in North Georgia. It's awesome. And that's why I love Georgia. We've got everything from beaches to mountains.
Yeah.
World's biggest airport. You can get anywhere.
Whatever you want to do,
Yeah.
you can do it right here. That's right. Part of why I know about the pickleball thing is because amongst all the legislators, and we have a lot of them in Georgia, very few are as active and communicative with their communities and with their constituents as you are on social media. Why is that so important to you?
I love social media because you can direct. I mean, I am a voice. I serve people, right? And so I want them to feel like they've got direct access to me. And so I give them the behind the scenes look of what it's like to be at the Capitol. So literally every single day I do a video update so my constituents will stay informed. They know what's going on down there. And it's a great way for me to listen to them, because at the end of the day, I've got to do more listening and less talking so that they can tell me what they want. And some of the best ideas for legislation I get come from my constituent. There's a local nurse in my community who came to me over the summer and brought me a great idea for a bill to help more families who are seeking to go through the IUI, artificial insemination process. We were able to introduce that bill, get it passed through the House, and almost passed through the Senate. So I tell people all the time, you as an individual can bring us any idea, and we can introduce that as a bill and get that passed.
Of all of those bills that you have passed, and you've been a very active legislator,
Yeah.
is there one that you point to? We've discussed the cell phone ban in schools.
No.
Anything else you point to in your life? I am so happy that I was able to be a part of this.
My very, very first bill when I first got here, and that's the thing, you talk about passing a lot of bills. My constituents send me down here to work, and that's what I do. That's what I love, is putting in the work. I'm not just here just to show up, and I'm here to put in the hours and do the work. So my very first bill, I went across the aisle and I said, what is the best idea you've got? And the idea was to remove the R word, kind of that derogatory word with people with special needs, out of the Georgia code. And we worked together, we stripped that out and replaced it with more person-first language to really bring dignity and respect to individuals with special needs. And so first bill, got it done, and I always look back at that. And it's an example of really what Washington could be if we decide to get together and pass common sense reforms. And so love that bill and many others like it that I've passed.
Has that been your experience, that the General Assembly is a place of practical problem solving that's avoided some of the political polarization we've seen in Washington?
It is, and that's something personally that I try to champion while I'm down there is bringing folks together, because some of the issues that we face are not partisan in nature, right? Giving access to Medicaid for individuals with special needs, school safety, helping lower taxes. I mean, a lot of these things shouldn't be partisan, but yeah, over the course of 3 months, it sort of forces you to work together, and we do in a large degree.
Yeah, that's absolutely true. You mentioned lowering taxes, and you've been a part of getting that done too.
What I love about Georgia and the work that we've done here, we run Georgia really, really well. You look at some of our neighboring states who have high taxes, a lot of debt in their budget. Here in Georgia, we've balanced our budget with little to no debt, and we also have a surplus that we're able to give tax refunds, lowering taxes, giving that money back to where it belongs, back to our constituents. And so we are a really, really well-managed state in that regard.
One of the things that they say about it is that it takes the money out of the public schools. Actually, the local money stays with the public schools. It's actually more money per child, under this system. And, it's very difficult to argue that kids should be trapped in failing schools based on their parents' financial situation.
That's right. And that's, one of the things I'd like to build on and encourage, I encourage my constituents all the time. Make your presence known. Go down to the Capitol. That's one of the sort of inside secrets. Find out who your state rep is, meet with them, talk with them, encourage them to support legislation that you're passionate about. And that's what I love, is that I've got constituents where our district is, it's close enough where people can drive 30 minutes down to the Capitol, visit with me, and it has such an impact on how I vote, what bills I sponsor. So I would encourage anyone watching this or thinking about getting involved, please reach out to me personally. It makes a world of difference.
One thing I've heard you go back to time and time again as we're here talking is this personal impact on the people who send you down to the Capitol. Are there any stories that stand out of dealing with constituents where you had the ability to help them out?
By far, my favorite part of the job is helping people out individually with whatever need they might have. Personally, I don't think I'm very important, but when we kind of put our title and help connect people to the right resources, it makes such an impact. I always go back to, I think about this family when I was knocking on doors. They opened the door, we had a very good conversation, and they said, Scott, we are just struggling with our Fulton County homestead exemption. We have tried every avenue and nothing has worked. Could you help us? And sent a few emails, made a few calls, and over the course of a month, we were able to get that issue resolved. And that family called me almost in tears to say, Scott, we've been struggling for years over this, and you were able to get it resolved. And that's my favorite part of the job. It is awesome. When you can impact an individual life like that, it's incredible. I had a family, they were struggling with access to Medicaid for their child with special needs. Again, put them in touch with the right people, made the right calls and emails, and we got it resolved. And that child, their individual life trajectory is going to change because now they've got access to the resources they need for the therapy, for the education, for the healthcare to really excel. And so personally, that is what I'm most passionate about, to be honest, is really helping those individuals with whatever need they might have.
Another session coming up, be here before you know it. What do you hope to see done in the future? Do you have any projects you're still working on, any bills that are still alive that you want to get over the finish line?
Yep. So we talk a lot about Georgia and what it's like. We pass hundreds of bills. A lot of them are real common sense. What I love to do is in the off session, I study what other states are doing, what's worked, what hasn't. That's the beauty of a state legislator. It's almost like a little incubator of ideas. And so I go to conferences and a number of things to get, what are those best practices that other states are doing, and how can we bring them here in Georgia? I think here in Georgia, it's just keeping our state on the right track, keeping it business friendly, low taxes, great education, just don't screw things up.
You represent an area where there are a lot of Republicans and a lot of Democrats, a lot of ideological diversity in the counties that you represent. You've become known, Scott, as a legislator willing to work across the aisle on pragmatic solutions. Is that something that drives you?
It does. I really believe we need more leaders in politics who will put behind the petty partisan politics and really focus on delivering results. And that's been my track record so far. I represent a diverse area of different individuals with different needs. And so I love focusing on putting people above the partisan politics.
Yeah, absolutely. And when it comes to pragmatic solutions, you voted, along with many of your colleagues this year, to ban transgender surgeries in prisons paid for by tax dollars. Democrats walked out on that bill. Isn't that one where we should have some bipartisan consensus that this is just what common sense Georgians want to see happen?
It should. I was proud to be the House sponsor of that legislation because for me, it's just common sense that taxpayers should not be funding sex change operations for convicted felons. And as I talk to my constituents, almost all of them agree, Scott, that makes sense. My tax dollars, I want them going toward roads and education and healthcare and really helping people out. We should not be wasting dollars on that. And so one of the things I'm real passionate about and was the House sponsor on a red tape rollback piece of legislation. I believe government needs to be efficient and work for you. And so I'm trying to get red tape out of the way for businesses, for individuals, and really get into government, analyze it, because every time the government grows, our individual freedom shrinks. And so I believe in the individual, I believe in family values, I believe in low taxes. These are all kind of common sense things that unite us as a community.
In recent years, when we've heard from voters, economy, illegal immigration, public safety. Public safety has been a particular focus for you. Why is that, and what do you feel like you've gotten done for your constituents?
I love our community. It is a special place to live, but I want to make sure that folks in our area feel safe. You know, there was a shooting not too long ago at our local QT, and that woke a lot of people up that, hey, crime is moving our way, and we've got to put a stop to that. I was glad this year to vote in favor of harsher penalties for those who deal in fentanyl. That drug has impacted so many lives here in Georgia and nationally, and we have got to go after those who traffic in that deadly drug. I was also glad to vote in favor of legislation to advance better 911 services, to modernize that, to provide quicker response times. I want every single day our community to feel like they are safe and they have the resources they need.
Well, Scott, this has been fantastic. Thank you so much for all you're doing for our state and for your district, and look forward to many more years of service. Thank you so much.
Thank you.